Welcome to This Old App, a podcast about learning, coding, smashing stuff together, breaking things apart, startups, failing, winning, and any other buzzwords we can think of.
Hey everyone. Just wanted to give a brief intro before we jumped into this episode. Randy and I are discussing the product vision for a project we're working on. The project name is Chasms at the current time. Don't know if that'll be the product name or not. But we're working through some things, and we just wanted to record that we were doing it as a way of showing what we're going to use this old app for. You're going to see us build our companies and our products within the episodes themselves. So this is just a sampling. Thanks. The problem is I have a semi-complete vision for the product, and I'm not expressing it well enough.
Yes. We've talked about all these things before. So last night when you started posting comments, you were expressing ideas without any context. And I think I knew what you're talking about, but it was like, hey, here's an idea, or here's how I want something to work. But you weren't saying, like, I didn't have a framework for who was the sender, who was the receiver. And you mentioned web pages and stuff, but I have no concept for what you thought people were looking at, because Slack is a web page of sorts, an interface.
Right.
So
but it's not in reference to what I was referring to. So,
okay.
All right. So let me start from the beginning. Let me start at the beginning. Let's start at the beginning, talk through everything we're covering, and see if it fills in any holes. Okay. So the idea is to build a system where multiple users can send text messages to our service, to a single telephone number, and that service sends those text messages to a chat application. We are currently using Slack for now. Okay.
Yep.
That is all bidirectional. So people can send SMS messages in, and we can send something from Slack to the system telling them where to send it, and it will send a SMS message. Next on the list would be able to say, okay, I sent a message to this number. I want the system to go, hey, I don't recognize that number. Would you like me to save that with a name? So that next time you can send it to that name instead of having to send it to that number. So if I've got a technician called John at a certain number, the first time we send it to that number, the system will come back and say, would you like to assign a name to this? We say, yes, here's the name. And it'll save it. And then from then on, we can say, send John this message. And it'll know who John is. And when it comes from John, it'll say, John says this.
So right here is where I feel like there's a little disconnect in your product feature description. Not in that I understand what you're saying you want. I guess what I'm saying is there is a significant amount of scope attached to this for the fact that you're now talking about a directory and like a backend server. Because before you said all we need to go to launch is messages going between two different systems. Right. And you've just introduced a directory system. So I guess are you letting the feature request drive the scope, or do you want to say like, hey, we need a directory system as like, because that's to me a bigger chunk. I guess that's what I'm. Does that make sense? I think I understand, but I think I'm saying
to make this usable, to know if it has any value, it's got to be able to have a directory. Okay. Does it have to have the interactive portion? Maybe not. Maybe on an admin side, I need to go in and say, okay, John is this number, Fred is this number, Billy is this number. Instead of what I described earlier, which was if I send a number and it doesn't recognize it, it asks me back. That could be the next iteration of that. The first iteration could be a static directory that I can modify as an admin.
Yes, because that would be as the developer side, I would say, hey, what problem are you trying to solve here? I know the problem you're trying to solve, but can you do it statically? And I store it like from a technical standpoint in a static fashion versus giving you a dynamic, updatable database or data store. So we have there's two paths we can go down. We can do it with three. There's Postgres, there's Mongo, and there's Firebase. The fastest is Firebase.
Then let's do Firebase. Let's be done with it.
Yeah. Mongo would within MLab or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You could do that too. So the question kind of comes there as infrastructure question. Do you want the database to be in a proprietary, non-movable data store like Firebase, or do you want to have it in a MongoDB that you could choose any number of hosts?
You tell me. My gut tells me if I want to move Firebase, they provide a tool for extraction to a JSON file.
I do not know if that's the case.
I would be shocked if they didn't.
Oh, you can get it out. Yeah, it's just I don't know what the pain. I don't know what the pain point of Is it going to come out in JSON, CSV, Klingon? I don't know, but it's going to come out something. Klingon for sure.
Okay. As long as you're doing your Duolingo lessons in Klingon, then we're good.
All right.
Okay. So if we get to that spot to where MMS is possible and where there's a directory so that there's ease of use on the chat user side, that is a usable product for testing, for feature testing. I think the only other feature I had was the one that tripped you up the most because it is the most different from everything else. And that is where I said, if the conversation, there were two statements here. Conversations should be stored by SMS destination. That's telling you two things. One, we're storing all conversations,
yes,
which was not the plan. And two, you're storing them and I want to be able to see them somewhere. So this is not a launch feature, but the idea here is right now the only place that thing aggregates is in the chat application. So if I wanted to go see all the texts that went to and from Billy, there's no easy way to do that within the chat application.
Yeah. So it's not a difficult feature to implement.
Right. And to me that is what will take this to me, that is a very important feature. It's just not necessarily a launch feature.
Yeah. But okay. So now, but what I have gathered now from the requirements is, hey, we need to keep track of messages going back and forth. We need to store that. We need to persist it somewhere. And we need to have an interface for at least review, which will also entail login security. But still, like, that scope I understand now. Because the context that was provided last night was just like, what? But now it makes sense, and I get where you're going with it.
Read my mind better is the answer. Okay.
Okay. After the last 4 months, I think I'm doing a better job with that. The recording of discussion.
No kidding. So that was all the feature. So if we deliver all that, especially with the whatever we want to call that particular feature, the last one we were talking about, the conversation pages. If we can deliver all that, all of a sudden, I can now go to all the people, all the different companies I work with. Well, let me finish my statement. I'll come back. And I can show them what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can show them, hey, if you wanted to talk to Joe, if you wanted to see all the conversations you had with Joe, all you have to do is go to this page and show you all the conversations you had with Joe.
Yeah.
And no longer do you all have to look at your own individual cell phones and try and piece together different SMS conversations, because that's the whole purpose behind this.
Yeah.
So now the thing I was going to add is the next iteration of all that is for all of this to be likely web page driven. Okay. The chat itself being on a web page so that you can have, so I'm going to describe this verbally, just everybody will just have to follow along and make their own visuals in their head. The left side can be the actual chat window, and part of the right side is the directory. And if I click on Billy, it's going to show me Billy, the conversation history with Billy.
Yeah, I get it. I think that's definitely a good feature. What I actually don't think we should get away from, because of the prevalence of Slack and now Gitter and Yammer and other chat applications, HipChat, I think we should actually strive to it, like as a long-term focus is say, our system will let you maintain your current chat system. And like, if you don't have any chat system in your company, we will have an interface for you to use the product. But if you say, hey, I need a plugin to work with our existing, we spend $100+ a month on Slack, and that's what all of our managers use. I don't want to say, well, you got to use our interface.
Agreed. So that's fine. The construction industry is not technology forward.
Yeah.
So especially the maintenance side. So I can't imagine we're actually going to run across many people who are like, oh yeah, we've got HipChat running and we use that every day. No, I'm willing to make bets on what the percentage we're going to find.
If I find a construction company that uses Jira, they're not building my house. No way. I refuse to support that kind of product. But yeah, no, I get it. I do understand, to your point, that the majority of the client base we're talking about will not have a pre-existing chat system.
And I'm about to completely blow my own mind, because I just thought of this. That I will actually even say this is a possibility. I don't know what the capability of Facebook Messenger is in all of this. Can you do can we integrate all this with Facebook Messenger? And that may be the easiest one to sell, because everybody's got Facebook.
Well, Facebook has a LinkedIn type of thing.
Yeah.
I have an account. I never use it because I would never expect it. I would ever want to merge business with Facebook.
Yeah.
I barely want to manage my personal life in Facebook sometimes.
That's why I said I'm shocked I'm saying it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know that the social messenger will let you do that, but I do believe the business one probably does.
So anyway, it's something to keep in mind, because we may find, as we're talking to people, we may find, oh yeah, we use Facebook Messenger. That one I'll actually buy, that we could find that.
Yeah, it's just an API directory away.
Yeah.
Or an API documentation away, I think. So I would imagine, well, if it's all about a webhook, or an API, like, hey, send a message from your app into Messenger. I mean, that's all we're doing with Slack.
Right.
It's not like we're
just
barely.
I just don't know how open Facebook Messenger is. That's just it. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that clears up a lot of the confusion we had.
Yeah.
And I think it gets us to where we want to get. So what I heard you say explicitly was this will be done by the end of the weekend.
Did you watch that slicing the pie video?
Hey, no, I just did all the work. I did my part of the work.
No. I'm just saying I would need some pie right in advance of the weekend. So yeah.
No, I was kidding about delivery. We'll work on it and we'll get there. I think honestly, MMS is probably really simple. I think it's a matter of turning it on.
Yeah.
And I think the directory is a little bit more difficult. I think I'll look into MMS. I think I'll look into cleaning up some of the error messages we have going back to the chat channel. You want to look at a directory system. I think we'll be in good shape.
That's fine. It actually coincides with what I've been learning the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
Thanks for listening to This Old App. Show notes and previous episodes can be found on our website at www.thisoldapp.online. Reviews on Apple iTunes are always appreciated and help promote the show. For questions, comments, or things you would like to hear on future shows, please email us at hello@thisoldapp.online. Show music is Guns Blazing by Fab Claxton, licensed by Pond 5. Voiceover work by MeganVoices.com. You'll hear from us soon.